Hello and welcome to another WorldBox video. Today we are going to have one giant fight off 100 tiny people. So first off, I am going to put these waterways between, and hopefully those fill in with water after I unpause. And if they create boats and go over to the other side's place before I open it up, that's perfectly allowed. That is an option on the table. Now, because just being one giant and just being rich isn't enough, I'm going to give him a couple good traits so he can actually survive out here. So we're gonna give him strong. We are going to give him immortal, which is also a very, very strong trait. And we are going to give him genius. But remember, he is just one guy. And there are 100 people over here, and they can encroach on the other's land whenever they have boats. They're perfectly allowed to do that. So let's give him this trait. And now let's make these people tiny. And now you might have seen that I put this in the savannah today. You know why I put it in the savannah? Because I thought, what's a better place to put them in than the savannah where they can get attacked by rhinos? I kind of just want to see some tiny people attacked by rhinos. Is that so weird? And the water wasn't filling in, so I connected it to the ocean so it can fill in. Let's see how this goes. Okay, looks like the giants have been putting on some good population. And remember, not every person who is a child of these people is going to be the same as them. And that includes the giants, that includes the tiny people. Not even most of them will be the same as them. That's just how this game works. The tiny people are definitely populating faster, but percentage-wise, the giants are definitely gaining faster. Does it actually matter though? Maybe the tiny people will go ahead and encroach on the giants' land first because they are expanding faster. That is a port right there. That is going to be super important here shortly, I would imagine. The tiny people have built the first ship. Meanwhile, the giants have not even touched water yet. However, the giants are catching up on population to the tiny people. Maybe the tiny people will actually encroach on the giants' land and steal some of their copious amounts of resources. The giants are expanding like crazy right now. They just put down 5 new villages all at the same time, and they're taking in a whole ton of new resources. Oh, there it is. It looks like the tiny people went ahead and sent over, seems like just one person when I wasn't looking, or maybe they swam across? I don't know what happened, but they do have a boat, and they are gonna hog all the silver for themselves. The giants now also have a boat, and they're catching up on population on the tiny people, but they don't have nearly as much land covered. And just so you know, in this game, one person can reproduce. So now there's a couple people over here because it's been quite a few years so far, and it seems they are mining silver. Maybe they're even sending it back to their nation. Who knows? There are definitely ships going back and forth now, and I think they're engaging in trade. And they're not going to start a war with this tiny village over here or anything, because usually they only do that when they've taken up all the potential land already, or most of it, and they just haven't done that yet. The giants have passed the population of the tiny people. This is not looking good for the tiny people, but the tiny people definitely have more land covered. They've even taken over the giants' gold deposit and silver deposit, and they might even be sending it back home to the mainland. That's a lot of resources to just keep for themselves. But what they're actually doing though is putting the giants in a really good position to get some free population here. The giants are just going to trounce in here and take this area over pretty much for free, and that's going to give them some extra population, and they didn't even have to set up down there. The tiny people have completely taken over their side of the map, and interestingly enough, they don't seem to see any reason to put up a port on the bottom side, just the top side for each of them. Maybe this area won't be so free. They've practically taken over this entire quarter, and they're starting to populate this area quite densely. Like, look at all these houses over here, and that's a quite refined building right there, and they seem to even have some military troops right over here, so maybe they can fight off the giants. Now, are there even many giants in the midst of these people? Probably not. Let's just slow this down real quick, and let's go see the king giant. What's he got? He's got an iron sword, and he's got some more traits. He's got wise, he's got golden tooth. He's pretty trained up. Meanwhile, let's see the king of the tiny people. He's got golden tooth, he's wise, and he's honest. All good traits in a leader, but he's not tiny. I don't think we're gonna see many tiny people running around around other than just like these little children around here. It's been many generations since those people were around, and you just don't see many of them anymore. It'd be very difficult to try and find one of those people. And remember, we only started off with one giant. We're probably not gonna find many giants within these lands either. The giant trait is definitely there. This guy's got an iron sword and he's a giant. This guy's a giant, but he's got no weapon. But those are the only giants within the army. I think the giant trait only has like a 1 or 2% chance to pass down in the first place, so it's just not very likely. Okay, I'm really interested to see a war break out already. Now, when their populations start to just dip instead of keep increasing, I'm going to connect them by land, and we'll see if that makes them go to war. It's interesting to me that the giants have so much more population, meanwhile the tinies have so much more land. Wouldn't more land usually mean more population? What's going on? Maybe their leader is just that much better? Oh no. Did the tiny leader go over to the giant's land? It looks like he did. Actually, it looks like the leader died, and now it is this guy who just has the wise trait, and they actually have some really good gear on now, except for their weapon apparently, and now he's just wise. So because their king is not immortal, he doesn't live forever, and they got a new guy, and now he's over here. That is not a good place for your king to be. You want him to be safe. Okay, both of their populations look about maxed out, so I'm going to go ahead and add some soil here. Boop. And now they have got some soil between, and they can decide if they want to fight or not. The tinies sent their king back immediately, and so far it doesn't look like one's declaring war on the other, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure it'll happen. Wow, it's been over 50 years since I opened up the wall, and they still haven't gone to war. They actually have quite good relations. And now the tiny people's population is passing the giants' population. I'm surprised that didn't happen earlier because they took over all this land down here. Okay, the giants have had enough time that their king is decked out in full adamantium. Meanwhile, some of their foot soldiers are still using sticks. Many of them, it seems, actually. But the technology is there that they can give to those of a little bit richer class. So that technology does exist. And let's see what's going on over here. We got sticks, and then let's see what their king looks like. Their king is decked out in full steel. So there definitely is a technology difference, but these guys just do not want to go to war. It's been almost 100 years and there has not been a war. I am going to make the tiny people attack the giants. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna speed this up to 5 times now. Don't want it to be on 1 times anymore. Tiny people rush in immediately to fight the giants. The giants just do not have soldiers there immediately, and I think that's because they're splitting them between attacking this lower colony here and going to the gate and attacking the main colony, which really leaves them less defended than they possibly could be. Now, do I think they're gonna win down here? Absolutely, I think they're gonna win down here. But what does it matter if you win down here and lose up here? Like, look, they already got like 1,000 people inside here. That is just not good for them, and they have to split their troops up because otherwise they could win up here and lose down here. Now, it looks like they're absolutely demolishing them on the bottom, even though they have quite large armies down there still, and they are just taking over that area. That's going to be some free population for them. But up here, now they have to fight them on multiple grounds, and these guys are starting to get in. And I'm not really seeing any archers on the giant side. They do have archers. There just aren't many of them back there, though. Okay, looks like the tiny are actually losing some population, and the giant's population has stayed almost the same. And they're about to take over this land over here. They just gained some population over the tiny. We'll see. Maybe the technology does win the war in the end, because the tiny guys had more people to start off with. Or maybe they just haven't gotten their plan to work fully up here yet. Maybe they'll take over this town and gain some population themselves. Because the giants have done a very poor job defending the wall up here, and these guys are just making their way in. But they are going to be sending some people from down south after they take over this entire area. They are going to have a lot of troops to send up still. I don't think this war is over, but so far can't tell what direction it's gonna go. And now these guys took over the bottom, and they're going to go right up top with all of those guys, and they're gonna go right to fight the war with the tiny people. But it looks to me like the tiny people have way more armies left than the giants do. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're all down here, but I don't think so. I think these guys have way more armies. So I'd assume the tiny guys are gonna win, actually. actually. Now, the king looks like he's about to go get involved. There he goes. He's getting in the war himself. And this guy is so well equipped that he is killing each person he attacks in one shot. And I want to see how much health he has. He has 1700 health, and these guys are going to barely do any damage to him based off the gear he has. He can probably kill all 15, 20 of these people just by himself. He is very strong. He is actually a very useful unit all on his own. And wow, his area actually got taken over. Now look, he's on the other side. The immortal giant. He's on the other side. He joined the other team. And now he's this leader over here, but he's not a king anymore. That's going to be it for the giants. I'm calling it right now. This guy's diplomacy skills. This guy had so many skills that were keeping the nation together. They're going to fall apart right here. Like, let's see what this new king has. I'm sure he's great and all, but compared to the last king, just no. He's going right into battle. He does have adamantine stuff. He is a little bit wise. He's a little bit ambitious, but he's unlucky. And he has nothing else going on for him. He's 70 years old, going to fight the war. Taking this land back. And that leader in there is not the giant, so doesn't look like that's going to claim their old king back. And I wonder if they even did claim their own king back, if that would even cause them to make him king again, or if they just be like, no, you're a dirty deserter. They gained that little village back. Now, this fight started off a lot more even, but really, I think them losing their king has screwed them over. Let's speed this up, see what happens in a little bit. Yo. Okay, so they went ahead and claimed back a village that he was in charge of, and now he is back on the giant side. I guess he was just defecting for a little bit. That way he could gain some intel, but now he's crippled, he's one-eyed, and he's fat, so he's not having that good a time, and he is right now fighting about 100 people just on his own. Let's see what happens to him. By the way, they did give him his kingship status back once he came back. Looks like they took it over from the other person, gave it to him. And wow, he is not having a fun time. His health is actually doing pretty good. He's doing way more damage to these guys than they're doing to him, but he needs some large support. And they're taking over the land he's in. Oh no, does that mean he's gonna swap sides again? Nope, he's still staying with his kingdom, even though there's all these people on him and they took over that village. Looks like this time he's gonna die with his kingdom. And interestingly enough, it seems like the giants started to gain land back as soon as this guy became king again, but they figured that out. They're like, we gotta get rid of him. We gotta kill him. And he has no one to help him. This is so sad. He was such a good ruler. And he's dead. Well, I think that's it for the giants. Look, they took back so much land while he was ruler, but I bet we'll see them lose now. Oh, and this is almost it. The giants are about to go out of business. They're at 400 people, losing quickly. And let's see just how many people are in there in the first place. Oh my gosh, it's like 1,000 soldiers in there to fight 80 people. To fight 3 people. Oh, wait, there's one more person left in the bottom, and he's gone. That said, the tiny have won this fight. If you liked this video, make certain to subscribe for more WorldBox videos.